Speaking of beautiful people, did you guys see in the news this past week about Megan Fox?
I did
About
not.
her talking about body dysmorphia?
Yes, which
Yeah.
blew my mind because I would say
She's
that.
had a lot of stuff done, though, to herself.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother dive that we could take. I didn't really dig into like what she has done to herself. She does look different now than she did when she was younger. I mean, of course, we all look different, but she looks almost as if she may have had something done. But I didn't really dive into that. But it was very shocking to me, honestly, to hear her say that she suffers from body dysmorphic disorder, because I've always thought that she's just one of the most beautiful women, in Hollywood. And but that's just how body dysmorphic disorder is, and I did want to talk about it. And it's kind of funny because both my wife and my nurse at my office say that I have body dysmorphic disorder because I get really stressed if I like gain weight, and so. And we'll talk about more about what it is. I don't really think that I could be clinically diagnosed with it, but it's something that I get, and I think to a certain degree we all get the idea.
No, I definitely deal with it like all the time.
Yeah.
I see flaws that nobody else sees.
Right,
Constantly.
and that's it. Yeah. So anyway, so Megan Fox came out. She was working with Sports Illustrated. She's the swimsuit model cover for this year, which is fantastic. 37 years old, actress. I don't think she's done any modeling. My wife and I were discussing that last night. But she's mostly an actress and been on a lot of covers of magazines. And she said, and I quote, "I don't ever see myself the way that other people see me. There's never been a point in my life where I've loved my body." And it's just so sad to hear that, and shocking for someone like Megan Fox to say that. She wanted to talk about how it even started when she was young, how she would obsess about certain things about her body. And
well, she was like sexualized really early on in her career anyways.
was she? I thought
she developed really quickly.
Did she? I read that she began so she did begin modeling as a teen. I knew that. She wasn't like an adult model, but I think modeling as a teen.
Yeah, I just remember seeing her on like a Lindsay Lohan movie, like a very long time ago. I think it was like, I think it was like a Disney movie or something.
Oh, she was on Disney before? I can't, the first thing I remember seeing her in was a Transformers movie.
She was in there before that. She was in movies before that.
Was she?
Like with Lindsay Lohan and stuff.
She actually had a very interesting kind of backstory. She grew up in a very strict religious kind of family. And so I was reading that she basically saved up money so she could, I guess, move out of that or move to LA.
Did you ever see that movie that she was in called like something, like I think it was Jennifer's Body?
I haven't seen it, but I remember reading that she said that was her favorite movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's when her body gets taken over by like a demon.
Get out of here. It's like a horror fluke?
Yeah.
Is it good?
She turns into like this freak. Like just kills. She seduces men and like kills them, or like,
really?
And women too.
She like eats them.
Yeah.
She eats as a cannibal? Oh my God.
She eats them.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out.
That's like
Megan Fox is a cannibal demon. Okay, I'm in on that.
You'll look at her completely different after you watch it.
Because, okay, I'm gonna watch it.
She's like like the way you see her. To me, she's always looked very like intimidating and like.
She does
really,
she looks intimidating. I would agree with
like
that.
She
has that look.
She doesn't look like She just seems like she could be a big old B word. And then I don't know. Like she kind of just like.
Okay, I get it.
Scary.
Like she looks like very assertive and I mean I get that.
Like right? You can't get past her.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Anyway, well.
She doesn't seem happy-go-lucky. She seems.
Maybe she's got these inner demons that we just didn't know about.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably why she liked it so much, that movie.
She probably did, yeah.
Probably.
I'm going to check that movie out. I'm going to give you a full report. Anyway, so she was talking about when she was young that she had these issues with her body, and it was just really sad to hear her say that. And shocking just because of how most people perceive her. But that is kind of the hallmark of body dysmorphic disorder. People see discrepancies in themselves that other people don't see, and it's characterized by an excessive preoccupation with like an imagined flaw, right? So if somebody has a defect, like say they were in a car crash and they have some bad scars, or maybe they put on 80 pounds and they're unhappy with that, then that wouldn't really qualify for body dysmorphic disorder. In order for it to be a true diagnosed body dysmorphic disorder, it has to be something that's considered either unnoticeable or not a negative by the average person.
The way I think about it is like when you look in the mirror, you see like almost like a disfigured, like a
Like
a clown mirror, but everybody else sees you through a regular mirror. But when you look at yourself in a mirror, you see all these things that
bad
are
things, right? Things that
Yeah.
stand out. Yeah. So you would say like you see like maybe the way your lips are and be like, this looks horrible, and then the average person would be like, you look
I
fine.
wish I had your lips.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So it does affect a lot of Americans. Between 5 and 10 million people in the United States have the, I guess, clinical diagnosis of that, because there is a requirement, and that's why when I was talking about myself, I don't feel like I probably meet that requirement. It does require a preoccupation, the preoccupation of your self-image to cause significant distress in your life to the point that it starts to disrupt your work life or social life. And so that's why I think that it's not a diagnosis that 100 million people have, right? Because I know when people talk about it, I understand it, not just because I'm a plastic surgeon, because I see that in myself. And so it's just something that it can totally consume people.
Yeah,
And
I feel like if like you have, like you were saying, like you get up really upset if you gain weight, you're not the type of person that's like, I'm not gonna go take my wife out on a date to a nice restaurant because I don't want to gain weight.
My craziness
Like you don't do that, but
well,
like somebody would.
What I would do though is if I'll like get to a point where it's like, okay, I just
gotta
can't
watch
do this
what I
anymore.
eat right
I'm
now.
not going to eat. Like I'm just not eating.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that really disrupts my life, but that's when my wife.
It's not the healthiest.
Well, I know, right? It's Dr. Heal Thyself.
Yeah.
That's when my wife's like, okay, you have problems. Like I know I have problems. I accept that I have problems, but yeah, I really don't feel like I kind of meet that formal criteria, which usually that is made by a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there are treatments for this, and it can be treated to the point that you can kind of get your life back on track if it is something that consumes you and starts to affect your daily life or your work life or social life. The most effective therapy would be cognitive behavior therapy. And so that's where you talk with a counselor, a psychologist, even a psychiatrist, and you start to replace the bad kind of things that come into your brain and replace them with good.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of exercises, things like, okay, well, what are you thinking whenever you start to obsess about this? And then and I'm not a therapist obviously, but they'll try to replace that with something, the negative with something that's positive. And there's a lot of research to show that it's very effective, and cognitive behavior therapy is actually effective for many the mental kind of issues that people have. The other thing that you can do are take drugs. Some of the SSRIs like Prozac and all those various drugs, Zoloft, have been shown to be effective in treating it because it is a type of OCD. It's separate from obsessive compulsive disorder, but it falls under...
Because you're obsessing about something.
Right, you're obsessing about something. So it falls under that DSM-5 category of obsessive disorders, even though it's separate from OCD. Group or family therapy has been shown to be helpful. This is where you can get support, which, anytime you have support trying to get over something, you're going to do better. You can also learn different coping mechanisms, way to when you have these feelings, to kind of put them aside and kind of get on with your life. And lastly, techniques for stress management have been shown to be actually helpful for this. So things like taking up yoga, meditation, or even exercise. So, body dysmorphic disorder is something that, as a plastic surgeon, that I'm well aware of in a more professional sense, not my own personal sense, because I really feel like it is a duty of plastic surgeons to not treat people who have true body dysmorphic disorder. Because, unfortunately, it's rare. You're talking about 2 or 3% of the United States, so it's a pretty low number. But I have personally seen people come in that have it. And, the classic patient that will come in that I feel has body dysmorphic disorder is, just as we've all been talking about, they'll come in and say, I want to have surgery on this certain part of my body. And I look at them and I'm like, you look fantastic. Like anyone would want to have what you have. And one of the more common things I see is people wanting liposuction, and I'll look at them and they're like super fit. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do for you. And it's important that plastic surgeons have that will to tell a patient, no, you don't need surgery.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of research that shows that if those patients that truly do have body dysmorphic disorder, like a diagnosable disorder, that if they have plastic surgery, overall their long-term satisfaction is low. because they'll find something about the surgery they didn't like, or they won't think it's good enough, or they'll just fixate on something else. And so, whereas the research shows that the average person that has plastic surgery is very satisfied with it long term, with a few exceptions, a person with body dysmorphic disorder will not.
Yeah.
And so, for plastic surgeons, I think we have a charge to do the right thing and help people. And when I have people come in that I truly think have body dysmorphic disorder, I usually say, look, you should talk to your primary care doctor about this, who potentially could refer you on to, a psychologist or psychiatrist.
I'm sure social media doesn't help with any of this.
Of course not. No,
comparing
absolutely
stuff.
not. And we've talked about that a million times, how social media is really making people kind of crazy because it's giving these unrealistic expectations
I
of what
follow a lot
normal
of
is.
women on social media that are like fitness girls too.
Yeah.
They're like, look, I can pose in certain ways that make me look better, just like anybody
sure.
can.
Oh, yeah.
But like, and I can also, whenever I'm, sitting down, crouched over, putting weights on my bar, does my stomach grow? Yeah, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody in existence.
Yeah,
Right.
and like, it's like, I think it's so crazy that people are just so, like there's women out there that just don't understand that. And they just don't,
Yeah.
they're just not, they think that nobody has that
Right.
part.
I've heard people say that before, like coming into my office, say, well, when I go like this, I feel like I'm overweight. I'm like,
When you go like that.
Well, yeah, when you bend over. When you bend over and have a little roll, I'm like, no, that's normal. Hey, you should have. If you didn't have that, I'd be worried about you.
Yeah, like you would be like, are you eating enough?
Yeah, right. So, but anyway, it's an important topic, and it's something that, well, for me as a plastic surgeon, I'm always thinking about that when I see patients. But for the average person, you may have someone in your family suffering from this and not realize it because they're kind of keeping it in. So it's important to kind of recognize those things.
I'm guessing that women have higher percentage of having body dysmorphia. It's men?
It's actually equal.
Oh,
equal
nice.
between men and women.
Because I feel like women usually have like more cellulite, and that like really messes with girls' minds. Even as fit as I am, I still have it.
Of course.
And so it's like
you're normal.
I know.
Well, I mean,
I
you're
know
not.
it's
You're
normal.
like you're above normal. You're extra fit.
Well, thank you. But I'm saying like it's just normal. But like, when you look at social media or you look at other celebrities, they don't have it. But that's because they don't have it because they go get these extra treatments, or they just
airbrush their photos. Or right, yeah.
They just don't show it, or they pose in ways that you're never going to see it because they know the tricks.
Yep. Well, yeah, it's all for celebrities and influencers. It's all about branding and I don't know. I always feel like when people are more real, that I personally am more interested in what they have to say. When people come across as just fake, I'm just like, man, I don't know. But we all do it. I mean, we all do it. I mean, I'm different on here than I am in real life. I mean, a little bit. I'm kind of the same, but I'm not usually this kind of, as you know. Do you think I am?
No, you're pretty outgoing still in real
I
life.
am pretty outgoing. That's true. Yeah.
I'm pretty chill all the way through everything.
All right, Body Dysmorphia Story. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you on that topic. So, okay.